Well, water and soil testing is being done after that collapse unleashed sludge and mine waste that damaged more than 50 homes on Sunday. The mine was one of the largest De Beers diamond mines during apartheid times. In 2010, De Beers sold it to a BEE company called Superkolong Consortium. The Itumeleng Community Trust was formed later. It distributed earnings gained from the mine and the tailings, which is mine waste or processed soil that may still contain some diamonds. That was held in the dam. Stargems Group reportedly acquired Jagersfontein Holdings, that is a Dubai-based company, this year. Now, what happened here is reminiscent of the Merriespruit tailings dam disaster in 1994. That killed 17 people, and there was even a recent example last year. To discuss, we're joined by Professor Anthony Turton from the University of the Free State's Centre for Environmental Management. Prof, thank you for being with us as always. Was this something waiting to happen, a ticking time bomb, and are there many others in the country?
Good afternoon to the listeners. I was part of a technical team that did an assessment of all of the gold mine tailing dams in the entire Witwatersrand goldfields a couple of years ago. We've got a huge number of tailing dams in South Africa. I'm less familiar with the diamond ones than I am with the gold ones. But nonetheless, what I can say is that we've got a large number of dams. And the assessment we did back then indicated that almost 1 million people were living in very close proximity to these dams, some of them within at least 30 to 50 meters of the toe of the dam. So this is, I believe, quite a significant hazard, but it's a different hazard in the gold mining areas when compared with the diamond mining areas for a number of technical reasons.
Well, which is worse?
Well, it's all about the ore body that is being mined. So, in the case of diamond mining, it's because it comes from a pyroclastic flow or a volcanic event. You get this very fine volcanic ash that comes with it, and you generally don't get other minerals in that ore body. But in gold, you get a whole lot of other minerals. You get, for example, a range of heavy metals from arsenic all the way through to you name it, vanadium and a whole host of others, including uranium, of course. So the risk of tailings is a complex one. It's something that's got to be managed, because unfortunately, when the mine reaches the end of its life, historically in South Africa, we've never found a case that I'm aware of where there's been sufficient money set aside for the rehabilitation post-closure. So this is something that is going to probably come into focus now in the near future.
Well, help us then. How do we apportion blame? Because looking at what has been reported, there's a new owner, and that's a recent new owner, saying that they were given information that everything was stable. Then there are the previous owners. De Beers originally processed all that soil, and some believe that De Beers should still be held accountable. Groundwork Friends of the Earth, South Africa, says if government is serious, De Beers must be held accountable and pay for the full cleanup and rehabilitation. I mean, if we go back with the legal precedents to the condition in which the mine always has to be handed over.
Yeah, you've said a lot there. That's you've touched the base on the politics of this whole thing. Those politics are highly contested. So I assume that there's going to be a number of court cases that come out of this. My understanding is that the new owners would have been required to do a due diligence when they took ownership of the mine. Part of that due diligence would be a risk assessment of all of the facilities. So as far as I'm concerned, the new owners would certainly be responsible. However, they would obviously have a vested interest to try and deflect it onto the previous owners. That's a legal matter that will not be, it'll be debated in the public forum, but it will be decided in the court of law at the end of the day. What I can say, you mentioned earlier on that there might still be diamonds in those tailings. No mine recovery process is 100% efficient. So there's always some mineral left behind in the tailings, and I don't think this will be any different. So you might well find that distributed over that vast area, you're going to find some diamonds within the tailings. So you're going to probably have zamas going in there and scratching around, over the next couple of months.
And this is another one of the claims that sometimes mines are closed and then the Zamazamas go in and reopen things and everything becomes unstable again. And there are claims that the big miners often sort of palm these mines off to smaller junior miners who don't have the wherewithal to think about the long-term maintenance, rehabilitation, things like that. Is this something we have to look at overall as a country?
I think this has been playing out now for the last 2 decades that I'm aware of. Certainly it's been happening in other parts of the mining industry. Just to correct you that your junior miners are normally the miners that come up at the start of a mining operation. They normally do the exploration work. They normally don't do the long-term mining, or certainly not the post-closure mining, because they just don't have the assets to do that. But I mean, ultimately, yes, it's going to come down to this whole legal liability and who actually owns what, who's responsible for what. And the legislation is quite clear about that. But obviously, each side's going to get, smart lawyers. And at the end of the day, human lives are highly impacted, lives lost and more importantly, livelihoods lost that are not going to be easily replaced after this. And then, of course, you've got the long-term environmental impact, which is not a trivial matter either, because the cleanup of this fine material over a vast area is not an easy matter. And you often find the cleanup actually will cause more damage than the spill itself.
Sure. Well, I was going to end there. Water and soil testing is being done, and is this water dangerous? And can it spread? What happens now?
To the best of my knowledge, the processes involved in diamond recovery does not make use of hazardous chemicals, unlike gold, which does in fact have cyanide in it. So those are two fundamentally different processes, and we mustn't confuse them here. But tailings are ultimately very, very finely ground powder. It's distributed over a vast area. That powder is going to dry out. It's going to blow away in the wind, and it's going to cause a long-term environmental impact. And when trying to fix it up or clean it up, because it's such a thin layer over such a vast area, if you put heavy machinery in there, then you damage all of the underlying vegetation. And, you cause, in my view, a bigger impact. But it's a very complex issue, and it requires a technical team, cool-headed individuals that can work out the best plan of action without being harassed by people, political activists, because that's going to happen without any question about.
Yeah, so it sounds like it's a sensitive situation. Thank you for that, Professor Anthony Turton, UFS Centre for Environmental Management.